at least now, I'm a guys but it's not like, they're just out there like just soaking and hitting them back.
Yeah.
Ka exercise gotta fight.
Win.
Yeah, fitness. And I think the more you do that,
Yeah.
it brings in a certain element of discipline and keeps you away from just consistently being in that intoxicated state.
Yeah.
It puts your mind in a better space.
Yeah, football is a very good sport.
Are you doing any sport right now?
Yeah, I play football, man. But it's been long. That's the thing.
You used to.
Yeah. But once in a while. Man.
Yeah, no, but I've actually seen you like do some football stuff. Yeah,
and I'm dope, bro.
Brother Blessed. What sport are you good at?
What sport?
You man.
You know what I'm talking about.
Tennis,
bro, like that.
Tennis.
Anyway, let's get into it, man.
Oh.
Yeah, so welcome back, everybody, to the Land of Work and Joy podcast.
1, 2.
This is episode 4. This is your host, Mr. K, with my co-host, Sanjay and Blessed Zedam.
Boom.
What's up, gents? You
we
good?
Back again.
We're good.
Good. All right. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Let's not waste too much time. There's a lot of things happening in this nation.
Yeah.
The land
This
of
land
work
of work
and
and
joy.
joy,
Yeah.
Plenty stuff going on, man. Yeah, so first things first, man. On the table,
Yeah.
what do we have? Mwaka Halundi.
That.
What comes to your mind when you hear that name?
Beautiful name.
Beautiful name.
Yeah.
Do you know the person behind that name?
Nah. I'm personally known.
Okay. But you know the personality.
Mwaka.
Mm-hmm.
Mwaka. All I know about Mwaka is that she's a model.
Okay.
She was on a certain show, like on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I know about Mwaka.
Okay. Yeah. So just to put a bit of some context to it, like you said, I think Mwaka Halwindi is a content creator. She's a model and an actress, I think, amongst many other things, I think. Yeah. She's featured on a number of, I think, pageants. A number of, I think, 1 or 2 TV presentations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's quite strong on that end. Yeah. But
she's an actress.
yes.
An actress.
She's an actress, model,
A content
creator. Triple threat, maybe even more. You can't play with that.
We don't know.
Yeah, so she had a situation where like some video footage of her leaked, in a very compromising situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened like during the course of this past week. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Yo, bro, start.
So again, to put a bit more context to the whole situation.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a compromising video. For lack of better terms, it's a video that has been making the rounds with some adult type activities happening in the video, of which Mwaka herself is in the video.
Men's diary.
Yes, that type of situation. So that's what we're dealing with.
It's a sex step, in short.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a sex tape. Yeah, because like a sex tape is something you choreograph. I think, in my opinion, I think something that you plan and say, okay, yeah, so we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and both of you are in. You kind of know that this is going on and that type of thing. Yeah.
But what do you call that?
I don't know. I haven't seen.
Do you think she was not aware of that video?
I do not know. I have to see the video for me to make a conclusion on that. Okay. But typically, the trend has been in most of these videos that are out there. Yeah, you find women are the ones in the forefront of this footage. The guys' faces are usually not in these things. Yeah. But anyway, to bring it back home, Mwaka Halwindi, guys. What are your thoughts on that? Saint, what you think about that whole situation, man?
Yeah, First of all, I saw this, but in the morning I try to avoid such posts because I'm just trying to get into this zone, like to start my day and how this thing is going to be run. So I was seeing that, but I was not reading what it's about.
Okay.
So I was just seeing, oh, Mwaka, like, just this face, like this girl, like I've never. Then I left Facebook.
Yeah.
And so a friend that I met now, that very morning now, was the one that was telling me about that.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, so have you seen this video? So this girl, this is a mistake that she made. I was like, oh, is it a mistake? Is it a mistake? Then when I was following the story now, that's when I could see now, oh, she trusted somebody with a video. Always. Like you trusting someone with a video like that.
No,
so it's like somebody leaked it, you know.
Alleged.
But it was actually also, it was in her hands.
Okay.
Because she said she's the one that sent it to her best friend, right?
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
For real?
So like she was aware of this situation, right?
Alleged.
Yeah.
Supposedly. But
She was aware.
where's that information that said she was aware of that? Where did you see that?
Like she cannot say she was aware of this situation. So the only post that I saw like from her was like she was apologizing for that moment and what happened. Yeah.
Because so now I have more questions.
No, like I was seeing like
like
she's aware because like there's a voice note. Like I think these things are circulating while she's talking to her friends and then.
Okay,
like,
is that really
no,
her
no,
in the
no.
voice note? No, supposedly maybe. Let's say
Nah,
let's just say supposedly
How much
because we're not sure if it's her.
How much could AI go with this situation, bro?
With AI now?
like
With
these guys are
AI
so
now.
busy like doing that, like
No,
just to
like,
connect
bruh,
to this.
AI, don't play with AI right now.
Now, like for real, that's the latest.
Yeah, like AI can put you in that situation, like ASAP. Not even like what, especially with voices and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, even now with video. Oh,
And
Nah, that's the chick
Yeah.
on the voice note.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I see,
It's
I see.
like she's.
So she sent, so allegedly she sent that thing to her friend.
Yeah.
Why would you do that though?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So even me, when I saw that,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, but why are you sending that to your friend? Like, what are you trying to prove?
Yeah.
Sending such a video to your friend, like, what do you want to show your friend?
Or maybe
Yeah.
just.
Do you want to show your friend like I can do it better than you?
What the hell?
Or maybe the skill got better.
Yeah,
No,
because I was
Like-
surprised, like
Yeah.
yo, bro, like I wouldn't do such if I was I was to film myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't send it to my friend or my brother. Like, for what reason am I sending the video to them?
Yeah.
Am I showing to them that I can do it better than them or what?
I really don't know. I really don't know. Say
Because,
like,
like-
okay, what so what do you think about that?
Okay, so let me just go back to the video because you can see that. So you see like how view once is like how view once is like very dangerous. Huh? These
Was
days.
that a view once situation?
It was a view once video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
she
yeah.
sent a view once video to her friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
from there, that's when that's when it got that chance to now get out. I don't know how they managed to do it. But then, guys, so you can see with that video, you can see like it's on a phone. So she's using another phone because the view once you just like view the video.
Yeah.
Once you're done and you do like go back. it's
Okay. So somebody
over.
recorded
was
off
recording
another phone. Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah. So like that happened like that. So I'm like, hey, okay, this is.
But then again, like I
Yeah.
think she really needs to check her friends as well, because like
yeah.
that's the source of the leak, allegedly or supposedly, because
Yeah.
she sent that to her friend, and then that went out there like that. Like she needs to,
Yeah.
check her
the
circle.
Of course.
Hey, it's a cold world, huh?
Yeah,
Friends,
true.
man. Like,
It's crazy,
True.
yeah.
You don't
be
trust
careful with your friends, man. You
You
don't
don't
trust
trust
people
people,
with
like-
such things. You
But
never
the
know.
guy for the but they could buy thing.
Yeah,
Crazy,
it's
like,
the closest one.
if you want money from somebody, yeah. But it's now crazy if you just like release something just like out of just releasing this.
Yes,
Because at least you should have been like blackmailed, like like give me 10 grand.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and I'm
yes, yes.
fast.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So, but then I don't know.
But again, I think here's the thing. This issue of sending people viewers.
Yes.
Now people have 2 phones. You find that people have 3 phones. So the moment you send a viewers, someone will be alert like, okay, what does this dude send or what does this lady send?
Yeah.
Let me capture this moment so that I can keep and I
Yes.
don't know if they keep it for future use or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So this time around, we should be careful with who you are sending to your viewers and everything, especially if you are sending an explicit kind of content.
Yes, and just to add on to that, like people trust phones too much. Like technology has moved so far, and it's amazing what the technology we have now is capable of. Like we had mentioned earlier, there's AI and what's this. Like, you know, there's apps out there. Even you can say view one sources, but trust me, there's an app there somewhere out there that still is able to store all those view ones images and whatnot. So you might think you're sending a view once to somebody, but these people, like, there are apps out there that store these recorded items, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's just like you know, we're in a strange place now. Like there's no privacy on phones.
True.
So you cannot entrust certain you know, aspects of your life with the phone. Yeah, take it like just by default to say that whatever you put there is going to be public record.
True.
Because, you know, like we're saying, sometimes it's not even that you might send it to somebody or you might send certain sensitive information or, you know, videos or whatever to somebody.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just maybe somebody who comes into access of your phone.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the people around you.
You.
You know. Sometimes even these repair shops, not to say that the repair shops was this, but some guys are dodgy. You know, you take your phone for repair.
Oh, they'll tell you,
know,
what's your password?
Or leave the phone. They
What's
start
your
going
password?
through the, you know, all of these things. They start scanning through your private information. And before you know it, something is out there, you know. But you cannot trust your phone like that.
Yeah.
You know, take extra. It's unfortunate what happened.
Like what you're saying.
Young girl. Sorry
Sorry to cut you short. Like what you're saying. I don't want to mention them, but there's a dude I know. Like he's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
So what happened is he used to work for. He does printing.
Yes.
So a certain dude came through. And that dude is a well-known dude. All right. So he left the phone like, oh, I want you to print for me such a document. So after he left the phone, then he went. Right. So after this dude was done printing, he started going through
the
pictures.
Yeah.
Like what we found in the pictures. He's like, so this dude, is this what he does? Like, yo, bro.
You know, that was an invasion of privacy. That was
true.
Yeah.
So definitely you'd say, okay, I'll send these to my phone also, so that
Yeah. But ideally, that's what I'm saying to, you know, like two things. Number one, just don't record yourself. I don't know. Maybe some people have a kink for that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah.
So I just want to like add up, like, just like that question that we can ask, like, why do you think recording yourself could be a good thing? Like,
I think maybe some people just have a kink for it. Maybe some people like to watch themselves afterwards. It's something that turns them on. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe. Whether it's good or bad is a subjective thing. I think so long as it's not hurting anybody or, you know, you're not it's not hurting anybody. You're not distributing this stuff to wherever. You know, it's you yourself doing things in your privacy. What you do in your privacy, fear with, you know. But I don't know. Personally, it's not something like no. Private issues, I think, you know, there's a time for everything, and there's a reason why private issues should remain private. Like, we trust these phones too much to think, this is just gonna stay here, you know. But like, to answer your question, like you said, you know, I think some people have a kink for that. They kind of feel like, they wanna. It's like a game review, you know, like.
Yeah, like that.
you know, it's like watching a soccer game afterwards, and you're trying to see, okay, how can I do that better or something? I don't know.
How can I improve my style in ABCD?
Where are we lacking?
Yes, where we where we lacking? So I'm thinking maybe for some people it's one of those type situations.
Yeah.
But for other people, like, you know, also just this whole obsession, like, with phones and taking photos of yourself at every moment, videos every moment.
Yeah.
I think it's done something to us as people,
true,
you know.
True.
We've become obsessed with always just taking, instead of being in the moment, we want to always capture the moment.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
so that you never forget the moment, right? Because
memories,
right?
I'm guessing that's the idea, but even if you don't, like, your memory is still sharp. If that's a special moment to you, I don't think you're gonna forget
Brother, man.
For who?
Yeah, but I see. True.
Yeah.
You know, like there are guys,
Yeah.
Listen, guys, like here we're talking like this. Normal fear. You've been chasing this. Maybe you've got a crash.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a crash. Finally, you get a chance.
Yeah.
I don't know, that is out of your league. Yeah. You even know that my like when I tell the guys like they won't hear this. What other proof do you have, man?
Okay, first of all, like for me, for that type of,
what proof are you pulling out for that situation?
I'm not even pulling out any proof. I think if you have to prove yourself to a bunch of other niggas about a woman, that's some childish shit.
Not like some like it's like that. Like you know you can say all you want, like hey Sean, hey, but like there are people that would rather show you that. Because that's like more of like
but then again that's wrong also because you see you're also violating the person in that video because the person of whoever you took that content of did not consent for you to start showing other people and on a certain to a certain extent you're kind of distributing or showing this thing to other people, which is an illegal thing. I think that's an illegal thing.
Yeah, here in our country, it's illegal.
And if that person found out, they could actually take you to task. Yeah. You know? So, like, that's a very dangerous way of, looking at things. It's dangerous. It's harmful to the other people involved. Yeah. Because this is somebody who trusted you. Yeah. And then you went and put out something like that, of that nature, like that could be, it ruins opportunities for people. It disturbs people's relationships, families. Like it messes up a whole lot of stuff for people. So in that sense, like for those dudes who are like, no, I have to show, that's immature. Like you need to get off that. Like when you're dealing with somebody in that regard, like it's a private thing. These things are private for a reason. There's a time and place for everything. You know, like I always give an example of like throwing a deuce. You ain't recording yourself throwing a deuce. Like you're in the toilet. It's that private moment. And I think in such situations should also be regarded as the same.
Yeah, because I was like, I saw a post that said like, so like someone was trying to comfort her. I don't know, this guy knew this female. Then he was saying that, no, Mwaka, listen, no, the world hates you right now. Don't worry, baby girl. Then he was like, people do worse things, Yeah. Like people behind closed doors do worse things. Don't feel bad about what you have done. Yeah, just work on yourself and what that healing process and stuff like that. It's like, oh, you're trying to make us feel
hey, okay, like I get, like, I get people are
like
sympathizing.
People are doing worse things behind these closed doors.
And you see, that's the other thing as well. I also sympathize with her on that aspect. Like, I think she must be going through a lot. Yeah. Like such a thing is, especially for a young girl like that, it's very traumatic.
She's quite young. How old is she?
I'm not sure, but
maybe in her 20s.
Maybe in her 20s, but we need to verify that.
But okay, I know people are trying to sympathize with her. If we look at the video, most of the time, let's say all these videos that have been trending out here, Yeah. Of course, we don't get to see the dude. We get to see the lady. Yeah. I guess every time when you're in that moment, you're having that sexual thing, interaction. Yeah. But okay, can we do this, babe? Can we record ourselves? It's like, I know. Why do you want to do that? Yeah. Of course, there are perama reasons, guys. I know. I won't show it to everyone. ABC. Yeah. The moment you agree, right? Think of the outcomes before you agree. Think of the outcome. Okay, what if by mistake I was to send this video, maybe in a church group, maybe in any other WhatsApp group that you're in, just by mistake? How are you going to take that? Do you want people to sympathize with you over something that you agreed to do at that moment? So you just have to think of the consequence of you recording yourself at that time. So me personally, I don't agree to sympathize with someone who agreed to do something. That's them. It's on them. As long as you agree to do something like that, it's on you. I'm not sympathizing with you.
I look at it a bit different. Like, okay, look, if you agree to be recorded, right, with the understanding that is going to be between the two of you. So you're trusting the other person, say that they're going to keep their word. And then they go and distribute this. Like, I still kind of sympathize with that person, right? And especially in this situation, you're looking at most of the times these are young people. Okay, if it's somebody older and what's this, we can kind of say, oh, you should have known better. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I sympathize with her because she trusted that person not to betray her. Okay, initially what they're doing there and then, that is their private business. But she did not go out there to go and put that thing out herself. So she's not responsible as per se, like, to a certain extent, to say that, oh, it came out. The person who she sent it to, or whoever is, she's responsible for being in that thing, yes.
No, when creating it, she's responsible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then also when sending that thing to a friend, how do you trust a friend with such kind of content?
But that's the thing that I'm saying also, like, I try to always come back to the point that, again, these are young people we're dealing with. Okay? Ngaba Kalamba, if it's elderly people, it becomes a different situation. I think I can exercise more scrutiny. But seeing that this is a young person, I understand what a young person is, bro. I've been young. You've been young. You're still young. We're still young. You cannot tell me that you've done everything correct. And like most people are saying on social media, if we start opening now these X-files, these private pages of some of our lives or other people out there, we're going to see some very horrendous things. We're just fortunate to say that some of these things have never gotten out to the public or whatever. And that's an unfortunate situation where that happens. So the way I'm looking at this whole situation is like, Mwaka, she's a kid. She didn't know any better.
Really? I can't say that.
Yeah.
Me, I don't think it in that context. Because there was a time she was on this TV show that she was on.
Yeah.
She was busy blaming other ladies. Now we know you are out there, your toilets, A, B, C, D. Then you come here, you brag with the money, A, B, C, D. Do you think a child can say that? Then at the end of the day, behind you saying that, you go, record yourself, send that thing to your friend.
No, but okay, finish.
You go, record yourself, send the video to your friend. You trust the video you trust your friend with the video. Then your friend gets to leak the video out there.
Okay, so even like what you're saying, like she was in another video, like I think it was a show or something where she's talking about people doing certain things and what's this. Like I think even what she's alluding to is something different. In that context, she was kind of saying, oh, you're going out there, people are doing these things to you and you're doing these things for money. We can't imply that she was doing those things for money in this case. And say, can a child say that? Like, these phones, again, they've exposed people to a lot of things.
Yeah.
You see that? And it brings a whole different world of things to people, like real close. So children and young adults are exposed to all these different kind of lifestyles and information.
Yeah.
You see that? So they're going to pick up certain thought patterns, not because they understand or know what they're doing. They could have watched something on another podcast on their own. Somebody could be 25 and watch something on a podcast and, hear something they heard on a podcast, not think about it critically and think, oh yeah, I think this is right. And then go and regurgitate it somewhere else, Even just this whole thing is of like recording or some of these acts that are in some of these videos, as per se. Where do you think these people are learning it from? They're watching this stuff out there, But these are, like I said, it's a kid. She's young, okay? Kids are going to do certain things like that, okay? So when a situation like this happens, one, we can still hold her. It's not to say like she doesn't have any responsibility at all.
Yeah.
Like we're like, okay, look, you've made this mistake, but you should have known better to not be recording yourself or trust somebody. Because like we were saying, females, especially ladies, like they seem to be victims of this a lot. Like you said, in most of these videos, you will see the woman and what's this, but the guys' faces are never shown, And one thing I also find interesting in all of these cases is that these videos come out, right? And we see usually the people in those videos get in trouble and what's this. But like I'm yet to see a case where a video like that comes out and the authorities are able to track who was the first person who got that and started distributing it.
Yeah.
Because I think under the laws of this country, distributing such kind of content is a crime.
It's a crime, yeah.
That's why they say, don't be there in your WhatsApp group sending all this funny stuff and whatnot. Because then you're sending illicit stuff out there and solicited. We never get to hear, the person who actually perpetrated this and started distributing this, there's always a source, So like in this case, when you say, she gave it to her friend or she sent it to her friend, allegedly, supposedly. So we need to trace it, because if between her and her friend, the issue was to say, this is between me and you, then that was a private issue. But then if the friend now then decides, okay, let's go do this, and this, it becomes a different situation, right?
Yeah.
And I think in this case, we can say, no, she's responsible. I think because it's sex that we're dealing with, right? It's just the same as, let me not say it's just the same. Let's take a case where you trust somebody with some sensitive information. It's not sexual. It's just information to say like, yo, bro, that issue or that crime that happened here, or maybe that issue about this, fairly so, right? If that person goes to tell somebody else, right? Like, what can I say? Because the issue here is, what I'm trying to get at is, the issue here is, because it's sex, the act in itself is being looked at like, it's bad, you're not supposed to do that, and what's this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it's something else other than sex, I don't think people would have looked at it with that kind of scrutiny.
Yeah.
It's a bit funny, but just how to articulate it is what I'm trying to get my head around. So with that situation, anyway, in my opinion, I do feel some sympathy for her on some level, because she's young, man. You're gonna make mistakes when you're young, and that's why I think it's very important also, like, for interaction between adults and young adolescents, and a lot of guidance. Not just like you let kids grow and they're just out there doing what they want and whatever. Where you're a bit detached from them. Guide kids, let them know, say, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do that, Like, I'll give you an example, right? Like, for me, as I was growing, like, probably, like, around secondary school, one of my elder brothers, like, pulled me to the side, you dudes, you're growing now, eh? You obviously started playing with them girls now and that type of stuff, yeah? He joked about it, we laughed about it, but at the end of it, he was like, okay, now listen here, blood.
Right.
Like, this is not a game, bro. If you think you're just going to be jumping around and popping whatever you want out here, you're going to die. Okay? There's some serious diseases out here, or you'll find yourself in a serious situation you can't handle.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with these girls, protect yourself. So I had that guidance from somebody older than me.
Oh, yeah.
So even as I've been moving in the world and what's this, I've never forgotten those words.
Oh, yeah.
And, they've helped me get to where I am without having any serious damage on myself.
Lucky you.
Yeah. But it shouldn't be a situation of luck or chance. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It should be something that should be culture, where we guide people. Young girls need to be guided more. I think in relation to this thing, like, don't record yourselves in these situations, guys. Don't let a dude convince you, this and that. And because sometimes you check, like, even like with the recordings of these things, like, sometimes if a girl feels that love thing, like she really likes a guy, it kind of confuses.
She'll agree.
Yes, she'll do things because she thinks it's love and what's this, and that's what being young is.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So
But
you make a lot of
again,
mistakes in that situation.
yeah, like what you're saying, like, when you're growing up, when you're in secondary, your older brother talked to you about ABCD.
Yeah.
Right now, you can get a dude or young lady, to talk to them. Okay, I know maybe you've started having sex. All right, let's not beat about the bush. I know maybe you've started having sex. So even if you've started having sex, so please be using what? Protection. You've guided that young boy or young lady.
Yeah.
When you're having this, please use this and use ABCD. On their own, I was like, okay. At that point.
Yeah.
When they're out there, then they was like, but if I feel kunchinga, the time has passed.
Yeah.
Let me try this. All right. They want to have their own experience of things. Like,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know if what you're telling me is true
Yes.
or not. All right.
Yeah.
So with such an individual, would you sympathize with them, Oroshan?
Well, look, if you're told and you still kind of go out to do it, then I think there isn't much sympathy in that case. But also, I think even the way you are told, it matters also how you're told and how these things are described. Because all of us, to a certain extent, have been told something in that shape or form by our parents. But the thing is, when it's our parent, it just comes off like it's parents.
Yeah.
Like that mindset is there to say like, like again, dad also, he's always just talking about this stuff, There's just that, like, it just becomes like, it's a bit preachy, There are effective ways of communicating. So when you're communicating to young people, you there's a certain way in which you do it also. Because sometimes the message might not reach the young person, or the appreciation for the message might not be gotten, not because the message hasn't been given, but the manner in which it's delivered. It's not catered to the type of person. That's why even when you're making adverts or even just, certain programs or whatever shows, or let's say teaching, the way you teach a child in primary school is very different from the way you teach a child in secondary school.
Yeah, true.
It's very different from the way you teach university students. It's very different from the way you teach postgraduate students.
True.
So every person or every demographic, there's a way in which to effectively reach them. And I think the challenge comes in that sometimes when these messages are being delivered to young people, they come out as preachy, It's just like, or even let's take an example of like Christianity. You know how people will come like, guys, church, if and what's this, it just comes out as preachy. But I think there's better ways and more effective ways of doing it. It's not just say, don't do this, don't do that. There has to be more context, more examples. Come the language, come down to the person's level, understand.
I kind of agree with you, but I think since we are talking about this issue of Mwaka and thingy and the explicit content, but I think it's one thing that we lack or parents lack to talk about when we're growing you're growing, as in when you're teenagers and going to be adults. It's one of those conversations they'll shun away to talk to us, especially issues pertaining to sex. It's not something they'll, I know you guys are growing up now. My children, come and sit here. So this is the way it is. Apa mwakula nomba, I know maybe you've started experiencing A, B, C, D, and C. Those are certain conversations our parents will shun away. They want you to maybe know how to do certain things on your own. Since now, Kola. All right. So I don't know if lack of a better term, maybe to blame our parents.
You can, but also like I sympathize with our parents also, because they also come from a tradition where typically that information about sex is not talked about like that. So for them to readjust from that culture and tradition they're used to is not an easy thing. They should be doing it over time, but it's something that they have to fight with and gradually get to. So I understand where some of those reservations are. They are more cultural things. So I have a bit of sympathy with the parents, but they also eventually now have to start waking up and realizing like, look, the conditions for that kind of communication have changed. True. It's a new playing field, different rules, different game. So you have to engage differently in this situation. Like personally, like for me, I try to be as honest as I can with younger people around me in my environment, be it guys or ladies. Just advise them, get to their level, talk to them, gain some rapport. Let them know. Stories are a good way to deliver information. It's not always about just telling somebody like, yo, stop this, don't do that, it's bad. It's like, yo, did you hear about Tina like from across the road? Like, yeah, man, like, yo, Tina got pregnant and then this and this happened and eventually maybe she had a miscarriage and she died or something like that. that story is going to carry more impact because now that person will subconsciously realize, like, damn, Tina died and she was only a kid because she had an abortion or something like that, and you know, that type of thing. But yeah, so with our parents, they have to eventually learn to get there. But now, I think even their time has passed. It's already happened. So now it's on us to, you know, understand what the game calls for now and what it is. Yeah. And just on that again, let me ask another question. Like, if that was your daughter, if Mwaka was your daughter.
Why would you say daughter, man? Why would you say boyfriend, man? No, start with boyfriend, man.
If you were her boyfriend.
Yeah.
No, that like, I'm more interested. Okay, we'll get to it. Firstly, let's start. If that was your daughter. Because with boyfriend, you know, there's no real attachment as per se. But if it's your daughter,
because you're young and there's that thing, like, at that moment it's like that, like, you know.
Yeah, but if it's your daughter, how would you how would you respond to the situation?
First of all, that's an embarrassment on the family, you know. That's it's not an issue that you can just solve. It's a gradual thing. It's like every day. If you guys have got maybe a family pastor that's there with you, all those things come in. Why a Christian nation, you know, like they'll tend to those values first. They'll be like, "Oh, first mwite banani, if you know, all those kind of things." And you know, like eventually, what I believe in telling somebody like once when they do something. I don't think right there and then is the time to scold or the time to point fingers and stuff like that. But with something like this, definitely the person should know that you are not amused. And then this is not something that should repeat itself. So what I would just do first of all is that I will put first of all in certain guidance with other people first before my part reaches with that. And then now, for me to be like real talk, I'm always like blunt with saying certain things. Now, Maria Stephen and now say Banoku. I don't like serious. We're like now say yes stuff you para para can tell but won't say yobe. Yeah. If once somebody money finish to up board yobe. So number it's you now to take it upon from there number. Yeah. Just you whatever say about fine or could if you think you're human or you're a woman of value. Yeah. You can contribute more to positive things or whatever is going on, and from there she can pick it up.
Say it doesn't value.
No,
that's a good response. You know, I think I was that shocked. I didn't know what I would do. I think I'll just be like, yo. But I like that answer. It's, you know, it's very mature, passionate, reason. You know?
Because at that moment.
Yeah, because it's happened.
It has happened. There's nothing you can do. It has happened, and someone is your child. You, at that moment, I feel like you need to sympathize with them, be on their side, you know. Of course it has happened. You point out like, okay, since you've done A, B, C, D, you just sit them, you sit with them down, of course. As a parent.
And I think you know, you get not necessarily sympathy, but it's a safe space. You know, like, because it's a very traumatic thing to have you know, images of you out there just circulating,
the people are just laughing,
the whole and people are, you know, it's become a sensational thing. It's not an easy thing. Like, she must be going through like some real, you know, tricky situations. So they do need that safe space. And also it's kind of to say, like, is somebody who does that unredeemable, you know? So I think certain people are a bit too that's what I'm saying, like, guys, just talking quaff right now. If you have to start opening your books, you know. Yes, that was the wrong thing. We're not saying that we should go out there and start celebrating like it's a good thing, it's a party. No. She needs to also be told at an appropriate time, like you said. Like, you know, the extent of her mistake, and she also needs to understand that she will have to face the consequences, which is some of these things that she's seeing, the ridicule and all these things. And unfortunately, in this internet age, man, when it's up, bro. It's up. It's all over.
You show out.
And you know, like, I think there's another comment I saw, like, yo, the worst thing about this is, you know, if she has kids, they're gonna see that. You know. So those are some of the things you think about.
You mean like if she already has a kid?
I don't know if she has a kid. Like, in the event,
or like
that she has children,
or has children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that content will be out there.
It will be there.
The problem with the internet is fast.
Will keep
you can't delete something.
So like this kid is going to be searching like, oh.
Not searching it.
No,
Yeah,
but
it might not.
you bump into something. Like,
Yes, like it might not
Bro,
even.
that Iris video, do you
Yeah.
just bump into it or you have to search for it?
No, like, look, if you know about it, you're going to search about it. But sometimes what I'm saying is, it might not even be your kid looking for that. It could
Just
be
somebody trying to
like
get to you.
somebody who knows your kid.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or maybe somebody who just doesn't like you.
Yeah, I know.
they'll be there
you know,
like
Those
sense.
situations,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, and
If
people
you're
just
still
like,
in the
yeah,
limelight,
you after your mother, your father used to do that.
Yeah, shit.
You know, and then now your kid's like, what? What's this dude talking
and
about?
you're not aware. Maybe
Yes.
the time that these things happen, you're not even born.
Exactly. You know, it's like, what's the whole situation with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian?
Yeah.
You know, because they have kids now. You know, and I think at a certain point, one of these rappers was kind of like saying they have some tapes or something like that. And they wanted to put those tapes out, and you know, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, I think, had to pay a certain amount so that their kids shouldn't see that and that type of stuff.
It's already there on the internet, man. Like,
Yeah, so it becomes tricky like that, you know.
Actually, nan kane blessed that the consequences that you have to bear
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are the consequences of now paying people, and then now you still don't know if there are more tapes. Man.
Yeah, and
It's like, how many tapes did she do?
and you know,
Mom, how many tapes did you do? Though?
that's damaging because on your kid
course,
now, like,
yeah.
you know, like that shame your kid will have to go through is
That's crazy.
it's tricky, you
That's
know.
crazy.
So that's one of the consequences, unfortunately, one of the heavier consequences that you have to face when you find yourself in such a situation.
Please, we beg when you are having those your thing. Please do a papata. Don't record yourself. When you're recording yourself, think of the consequences and
Yes.
think of your future kids that you have. If you are planning to have kids, think on their behalf. Like if they were to see you naked, butt naked, you know, in that situation.
Speaking of moments, boss, momentira kola, momentira umfika bwino. Momentira umfika bwino. So sometimes abantu barakopa. Momentira umfika bwino. So like sometimes when you're speaking of like our moments, guys.
And also just another thing, like guys,
Hey.
especially this is for the guys.
You
now,
know, I
like-
have my moments sometimes.
No, it's all good, my G. But like you know, again, like we're
You
saying,
in the moment.
consequences. Think of the consequences
Yeah.
before you do something. If that stuff went out, how would you handle it? You know, that's something you should always move with when going into a situation. At the bare minimum, at least, you know, let private things be private. And you know, keep them to yourselves. There's no need to go around and what's
On
this
that
like,
one, that's
because
100.
the consequences of having recording some of these things is that they might get out.
Yeah.
And when they do, there's so much damage
No, yeah,
they can
it's a
do.
whole other level of crisis
Yeah,
management.
and
now.
guys also, like, to the guys, younger guys, older guys, or whatever, like, you know, this whole culture of where you're with someone's daughter, you are in the mix, you're about to do something, and you are there convincing her, like, yo, let's record this. And, you know, you record that, and then for some reason or what, Katrina finish your caller, you decide, oh, let me go put this out. Or there are even cases where, like, you break up with the person,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
they have
and
such
then now
content.
you're like, no, I'm going to show you, I'm going to release this stuff and that type. No. That has to end.
Yeah.
Because we as guys also have as much a responsibility to what we're seeing now. Like, just stop recording these girls, man, and stop, you know,
But you know-
publishing content without people's consent. It's a crime. And it's not right.
And it's not all the time that it's guys who are convinced. These
No,
guys,
even them
ladies are the
ladies.
ones.
Okay,
Sometimes, and
Yeah.
let me just say, like, yo, like ladies also, like, hey, they're the ones who are busy convincing us to also record. Like,
No, if
just for a moment, just record so that we
Yeah.
see just like how it goes.
well,
How
I'm
it
good.
goes, and then you forget to sleep, because it was.
Well, I'm good. If it's a lady who says that, either way, like whichever one of you suggests that, think about the far-reaching consequences. You
True.
know?
But let's look at this situation again. If it was a dude that made this video go, like, if it was a dude that made the video go out there,
Yeah.
would have looked at the dude like in a certain way, like, yo, bro, how do you make this trend? But in this instant, it's a lady. All right?
Yeah.
And it was a face showing in the thingy. Busy grabbing the thingy. How would you take it? That it's a lady now, then it's not a dude that made this video go out.
When you say it's a lady who made it go out, like
because she's the one that shared the video to her friend. It's not a dude.
Again, like we're saying, like her friend is a chick. Is she the one? Are we sure that she's the one who actually now distributed the video?
You know what's happening in that video? That video is like it phone then there's another phone recording this, and then we can see there from the finger like this is a female press up, of course that's how the video came out. So there we know inshama intentions yakho yashanya kopa umuntu amtumila view once, and then number ena asenda phone ila ina number atamba ku record. So what's the first like because you're just supposed to watch it and then then delete comment that, after. Then that video is gone.
Okay, so if in that case anyway, look, two things can be true at the same time. Again, let's not lose context of things. Essentially, what we're saying is, recording something with somebody that is meant to be private and then you put it out is wrong.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Very wrong.
Also, distributing sensitive content which requires the consent of somebody else, or depending on whatever the laws are in whichever country you are in, without asking, and then you just go distribute that, it's wrong. The only reason I was saying, typically, most of the videos that we see like that is the ladies who are like, and like again, like you said, maybe it's the ladies who initiate or record me. But now when it comes to the distribution, who is responsible for that? And that is what I think now makes it because that's at the point of distribution, that's when it ceases to be private. Yeah. So that's where I think the problems begin, because what they are doing essentially with themselves in that private room, that's none of our business, man. That's your bedroom business. But when it goes out to the private, then now it becomes a public affair. Then now we are all involved. So that person who's responsible for taking it out there, then now that becomes wrong. You see that? So whether it's a woman or a man, then that is wrong. It's not something we can just at order, hey, what's this? But typically, guys, why I'm saying guys, I know that. I'm a guy. I've had friends who are guys. I've been around guys. I see some of the behavior. So I'm addressing it from a man's perspective to other men who might think like that.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that just guys who do that. Yes, there could be ladies who do that, but me, I'm addressing the guys also. Yeah. For ladies, you've heard also, don't be recording yourselves. Don't trust your phones too much. These things go out. Don't trust people too much.
There's something that I saw, I think it's some time back, because people recording themselves. Now it's become a trend in Zambia, where people, like, it's just this year when we saw that, who is that lady who was recording herself? I don't know, he's touching herself. Now there's a video that I came across, I think it's last year, all right? I think these guys went out, I think maybe to have fun, then the friends, right? I don't know if it was a hotel or a lodge or a guest house, all right? So this dude is in the moment, all right? You're in the moment, you're having your private situation there. Then your friend comes in
and records
capturing you. Then I saw he even shouted the name. Masauso boy now. What?
Serious?
Yeah. Masauso boy.
Masauso is busy.
No.
Is it the situation? Things are happening. Then he's capturing you. He says, Masauso boy. You've hammered these things. So on and so on. Like,
Mulandu, and that's what I'm saying. Such behaviors, man. Like, one.
Would you say such is a friend?
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, you need to be careful also of the people that you have around you. And again, to bring back the point, like we're saying, certain things are private. If you're doing something in the privacy of a room and it's just the two of you, let it remain between the two of you. The moment a third person comes in, problems start. What's the Bemba saying? Ati
Watch tattoo wabo finite.
that's something at yapadi babidi then watch tattoo yeah, but I need to get that saying right. Yeah. Essentially what it is when the two of you deal with that situation, the two of you as you are.
Yeah.
But whenever a third person comes in the mix, then problems start. But so just to put a cap on that, like yeah. You know, there are consequences to these things.
Yeah.
They are far-reaching consequences. These are not consequences that just affect you, but your family, friends, and probably your children as well. If you already have children, it's going to affect your children. If you plan on having kids, that's going to affect that, you know. Even just your prospects of getting into relationships, because that thing might always be brought up.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, think greatly about those consequences before you go out there and do such. But yeah, and also don't trust these phones too much, man. Like, just because it's your phone, you think it's not gonna go anywhere. Like, might slip up, you know. So keep private things private. Don't record yourselves. Keep it to yourselves, and I think we can keep it moving from there. But I think also authorities should do more to clamp down on the people who distribute these things.
Yeah.
You know, the person then who now takes it from the consent of the two to go and then. You know, the one who's outside of that situation, the first one who says, because I think if they clamp down on such, you know, it prevents such things from going out. Because then it becomes a cautionary tale to like other people as well are thinking like, oh, let me send this to this and this. Yeah. You know, so we won't have as much things like that going down. Yeah. So, that's that with the Mwaka Halwindi, you know. All the best to her. Hope she... You know, you know, gets over it, but also understands, learns from it as, you know, there are consequences to your actions, and be a bit more careful with who you trust next time.
There's that in Nidebaranda that she should come back from this situation stronger.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. Ideally, that's what it is. Ideally, that's what it is.
Yeah. Setback.
So just to follow up like into this whole thing, right? With this whole situation. And again, this is where I come back to the whole point of saying like the way certain people are bashing and no, hey, what. You know, there's this thing about Zambians and hypocrisy.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
My hypocrite.
First of all, do you think Zambians are hypocrites?
Yeah, there's a certain part of that that's true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like the way I look at it, right?
Yeah.
I think we have a hypocrisy as Zambian people. We tend to be quick to judge certain things and act like, oh yeah, how can you do that and what's this and what not? But the reality on the ground is we love that stuff.
Yeah.
So even this whole situation, like there are a lot of people who are lambasting the girl and whatnot, not because they are trying to correct her or let her know the consequences of what she's done as if she doesn't already know.
Yeah.
But, you know, just trying to be morally superior. Yeah. You know? But if we go into their lives and actually examine what they're doing, it's not a better story.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's why, like, the whole thing of Zambians being hypocrites.
I kind of agree with you because, you know, people are out here, you know, blaming her. I was like, why, how could you do such a thing, A, B, C, D?
Oh, yeah.
But if we're to go and look at those people, even them, they have these things in their phone. Some of them, you've been recording every...
And some people, it's not even like, you know, like they might not have videos, but like they're doing the same thing she's doing.
Yes.
Some even for money.
Yeah, true.
It's just like she had a video and it went down. But, you know, you out there doing some nasty stuff too, man. Like we
so
can't
like
really,
with what happened to Mwaka,
Yeah.
if somebody like people in a DM or just people that she meets now, like, so, like how much now? Like how much?
I think that's also a bit messed because like that's
like how much now?
I would want such
for
an
a
experience.
That's crazy. First of all,
how much for a
because
ride?
for you to even say how much is you're implying she's a like she sells sexual services.
She's in that format.
Who's like anyway? Some
I'm
people.
not saying she's a I'm saying she's in that format of people asking about that. Like, she's going to be getting most of that.
No, people can do that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, the people who do that, that's messed up.
Yeah.
Because she didn't at any point come and tell you she's a, you know. So for you to come out and say how much, that's offensive.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and now we're in the suing age. Huh?
Yeah.
People will sue you. They will put I don't know if somebody can sue you for that and what's this, but it could come maybe under some harassment type thing.
Yeah, no. Like, just to kind of agree with him, quite to just them seeing that video, they'll conclude that maybe she's been doing A, B, C, D. So let me go to her DM and ask, like, okay, how much do you charge for A, B, C, D?
But that's foolish because you're assuming things. You don't assume things. Get the facts right.
We have such people.
They're there, but again, this is why we're advising them, say that you don't make assumptions, okay? Get your facts right, and then approach the situation as should be. When you make assumptions, you make an ass of yourself because you're just dealing with speculations or whatever you think, and then, and just even picture that, like, bro, how do you just go and approach somebody like, oh, hey, how much? You don't know that person. They never ever told you at one point, said, oh, what's this? It's like, picture this. And like for dudes, think of it in this context. If another guy came to you and is like, yo, how much are you setting your thing for?
I don't have a video out, bro.
No, you don't have a video, but just even the fact that somebody approaches you and tells you, yo, man, you're looking good. How much are you setting how much would you charge me to hit?
Well, instanti case so that.
So now you see that reaction that you've had. Huh? That's how it is when you approach a lady and do that nonsense.
You can't eat run the party with no more.
Again, it's the consequences. It's the consequences that she's going to face.
Yeah. So
but that's what I'm saying.
That's
again,
part of
like,
it.
you see, there's like Zambians are hypocrites, not just on this situation, but it's just a general observation. Publicly, we like to shame
pretend
and
as if
we
are all perfect
but
and ABCD.
Privately or on the ground, our behaviors are contrary to the values we claim to aspire. Even the whole thing of Zambia is a Christian nation. Yeah, like that whole statement. Not that there's anything wrong with declaring the country a Christian nation, but I think just making the declaration itself is not enough. The values instilled in us, the values which we live by must show that
we are
rather
Christian
than just
nation.
saying it's a Christian nation.
But
we should live those values.
Yeah.
Yes,
like that.
Because Christianity, I think, for a lot of Zambians, is a performative thing.
Okay.
What I mean by that is it's not real. It's something people perform. It's like acting. You're acting out a role, but it's not real. It's not what you believe in.
Yeah.
Because these are situations where you have like on Sunday. It's you are holy. On Saturday, it's up. It's you getting crazy in the club. You're doing all these crazy things.
Yeah.
Like you all manner of things. And not just even the club aspect. There's some people who don't club. Like Sunday you're very kind and what's this, but come the weekday, you're a business person. You're not paying your workers. You ill treat your workers. Your values are not in alignment with what you claim to believe. But if you even look at just even, let's say, for instance, like our political situation, right? There's a lot of rhetoric coming from politicians on both ends or whichever angle they come from. It's like, no, we are Christians, these values, and what's this? It's only we are Christians when it's appropriate. But when you examine their conduct from beginning to end, it's a whole bunch of nonsense. There's a lot of vindication, lies, violence, greed, power-hungry type of like situations, like, so generally, I think we're in a bit of a confused situation. We say one thing
and do the
another. Yeah.
Like, just to concur with you, all right, I'm kind of agreeing with you. The whole hypocrisy thing, there's hypocrisy hiding in the name of, we are Christians.
Yeah.
Us as Christians, you don't do, especially idea hammer so much on sex. They'll pretend as if they're not having sex. Especially, I've observed in the church. In the church, people be pretending as if they're not having sex. But they're out there after the service. Busy, no?
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah. And
on Sunday, he's a brother. Like after the service, it's something else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So that's Christianity.
Yeah.
It's
Ends
not.
on
It's not.
Sunday.
It doesn't. It doesn't like give a good picture. Let's say to someone who's not yet converted as a
Yes.
Christian. Like, okay, they see you.
Mhm.
Don't think they don't see you when you're doing
Yeah,
such.
yeah.
There are people that's just like, so, but why pretending?
Check you out.
Went to church, but look at the things you're doing, bro.
Yeah. And you see, you're a brother in Christ on Sunday, play on Monday.
Hey, Brother
Like,
John, ni ukwanapasa mamimba 10.
And sometimes, and you see, like you're saying, like in the church itself, you see
Yeah.
these things. Like
Yeah.
so the pastor himself, the one in front, busy lambasting and casting people and what's this.
Yeah.
But he's been having, affairs and sleeping with these girls in his
Yeah.
church and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's not every church, but
It's not
It's
every
like,
church.
we need to be awake to the reality, because sometimes people get defensive and say, no, people are just attacking the church. And also, no, it's not just the church. It's just generally as Christians, in Zambia specifically, there's a bit of some hypocrisy that we're living by because the things that we do and we say, the things that we say we believe in is not the things that we live by and do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just speaking on the thing that he said, there's a time that I went for a church camp. They call it a church retreat. Yeah, just some years back. So what happened here was that so we went for this retreat. Like, it's a very good experience.
Yes.
So I paid. So it's always like in December. It always used to be like in December. I don't know if it's the same now. So it was in December. You go like from December 20, is it before Christmas, to third day in the other year, like maybe by 3rd January, the other year. Yeah, so Fidafin. So I would go for that period, So we went like Fidafin. You know how it goes, So, they say all those rules. Like, this one is your brother, what? Here we came here. The purpose of this thing is to do this, is to strengthen each other in this and these things. Yeah, so and then there's freedom when you reach like you can get to know each other, So that one guy him Adam Boys Brigade.
Yes.
I think he liked a certain sister from the same a sister from the same because and then this was not from the same church. Like first eyesight from one it clicks.
Yeah.
You vibe mwatambo kulanda waite mudesa nokusendana private mudesendana fe babili fe you're going
2 by 2,
you call for certain things to happen
Yeah.
So what happened, like we're into it now Christmas so gotta go day I don't know what, like how they found that guy. He was very close to this lady. I don't know how many people Becky. But someone saw him, man.
Yeah.
And then so the next morning we just said, no, there's a meeting here.
Yeah.
So not because I want to and then the preacher. So the preacher now just said, it's to my disappointment that this and this and this has been this event that has happened, and we didn't expect it to come from people like you who've come here to gain. So these two names, please, you come forward. Just respectfully, definitely. I'm guys at Dabushina Kabala. Disappointment. Obviously, that guy was like, no man pays up because obviously we were hiding or something.
I saw you.
So
I
now,
saw you in the act.
So he didn't really go into the thing. He just said, you know what you're doing, and here the values here are this and this. You're going to obstruct for the right and yeah. But like for me, that's why I also started talking to this certain female. But it was not really like, so I was like, so I just have to stop this thing there. Here, it's not happening here.
It could have been you next, man.
Yeah, so like
Jackson,
this guy,
you need to leave.
Yeah, so like that guy had to leave. Like those buses were ready.
Oh.
Yeah. So he had to leave, and then it was a very good experience for you to just leave that early.
Okay.
So now when you come back now, so you meet this guy now if you like church person, but it's like so the girl also is like he never even talked to the girl after that moment.
I see.
So just like you see how things can just like within none can
Yeah.
so So I learned from that situation, like, oh yeah. When you go for that kind of agenda for
Just to add on, because you know, sometimes, especially when you're dealing with youths right now, you know,
Yes.
and you're going out, let's say, on a retreat or on a camp, you know, the whole agenda maybe is you are going out there to learn a certain topic. Maybe it's about purity and everything, because you know, as youths, there's that energy.
Yes.
There's that energy.
Yes.
As you are traveling, going for a camp, agenda to where we are going. It's for fun.
Yeah.
You know?
It's an opportunity for them to experience certain things.
Different.
They'll be there out there. I was like, Sister Jenny, when wanaenda just imagine, but when they church camp.
and you know, it would be on it would be on the churches now.
Yeah.
That's so you guys just you're hiding in this thing that you go do these things.
But in that case, again, then they're dealing with young people. That's what I was saying. You know, we need to do more in terms of like dealing with young people.
Yeah.
So even the church also needs to be sensitive and understand what times they're living in. To say, guys, it's not the same old traditional Zambia or whatever.
Yeah.
Like things have changed.
True.
They've changed so much. Children and young adults are exposed to so many different things.
Many things.
You know, so even the way you approach it, you don't approach it from a naive perspective, for lack of better terms. You know, you have to look at things from the reality on the ground. It's like these kids know about sex. They're watching a whole bunch of things. They're exposed to a whole lot of different ideas. So when you make such a platform for them to come together, you have to take that into consideration so that you structure it in a way that it creates a safe environment for them to interact and you avoid such situations. Yeah. And this is where things like, you know, sporting activities become important.
True.
You know, where you don't just have sessions where it's just kids just sitting around the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, so they still have this whole pent up energy they need to spend. But when it's sporting activities, you structure it in such a way that by the end of the day, even if you are thinking of doing something, your body and your mind is tired.
It's tired.
Yeah, you know. So I think those things have to be taken into consideration.
Please, and as Zambians, we need to change.
Yeah.
I think the issue of coitus or sex is that people be pretending as if they're not having sex out there.
Yeah,
like,
you know.
Go out there, you find these lodges are packed, fully booked. Like, but what's happening when it's daylight? People be pretending like as if they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I know. But go out there in the night and see what people are doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, there's some hypocrisy.
Yeah.
But away just from the sex, not just sex in itself, because sex it's one of those things that gets that reaction. You know. But I think there are more things that we are.
A lot of them.
What's this? You know, we behave in that manner that are not Christ-like or Christian values.
Yeah, sorry, I could just forget this, or even just like when we come to like us musicians.
Yes.
Towela speaking. The time that I think she got this attire from. I think she got it from Beyonce or something like that. Like it was something that was looking like what Beyonce had worn at some point. Then people here were like, no. What? Like you guys, so if it was Beyonce wearing that, like rocking that, like it's all good, you know. So like Tewela now wants to put it in her own nankane. And you know, art different in how you express it, you know.
Okay, it's different. I think again with Tewela the thing is like it's one of those where like for people it's like it's okay if it's it's okay if it's somebody else's child, but not mine. You know,
it's
that type
something
of
like
thing.
that.
It's one of those,
yeah.
But there's that kind of hypocrisy. So there are those things where, like, let's say maybe, you know, even just certain things like jobs, right? You know that there are a lot of people out here suffering in this country who are looking for jobs, just looking for a way to make it. You know, there's people who've sacrificed their whole time and, you know, livelihoods to send their children to university so that they can get these jobs. But because now you are in like a good position at that same place where the jobs are supposed to be, what do? You don't give the children who are deserving, those who are coming from lesser families or situations. You give to your kin and your friends. You know, corruption, nepotism, those type things. You know, that's evil as well. It takes away so much from the society, like, you know. But on Sunday, you are very non-can.
So So sorry, just to cut you off short. So you see, the people that say you're evil, so you say that's evil, right?
Yeah.
So now imagine this, like you had a good position in this family, one quite a good position, and then abantu nobody for in store. For you can in store you shan. And then you didn't do shit. You didn't do nothing for people. That you didn't do anything. You know, they're going to be calling you evil now. They're going to say, no, he was not helpful enough.
Okay, so now in that case, that's subjective.
Yeah.
It's not factual.
Yeah.
Look, it's one thing for me to give you a job, but are you qualified for it?
Yeah. So that's the thing.
And what the situation I'm talking about is in a lot of these cases, the people who are given these jobs are not given the jobs because they are the most suitable candidate. They are given because of proximity. Because they are, what's this? They are related to somebody and they got the access first. So when you're giving jobs, you give to the best suitable person.
Someone who's qualified.
Especially when you're talking about on a higher level, like if you're talking about government issues, so that you can get the best possible outcome. Because if you just hire people based on saying, oh, they're my relatives, they say this and this about me, eventually, even you hiring them will destroy that institution and you all go back to poverty anyway. You know? So better just hire the right people, do your job the best, and support them in whatever other way you can. Yeah. So that's with the hypocrisy, man. Like, we need to reevaluate how we are approaching this whole thing of our values and, just being real.
Of course.
Let's not say one thing and do another. Let's not be just Christians on Sunday.
Yeah.
And what I mean is not just being a Christian on Sunday is like, doesn't mean like now you just have to be there and no. But the way you live your life should be, your evangelism, sort of to say.
Of course.
Your values should correlate with what you say you believe in. Yeah. So that's what should be employed on a wider scale. Especially when you look at like even with our leaders and that kind of thing. Yeah. So let's move on to the next thing, man.
Yeah.
Social media monetization.
Dalamazation.
Yeah, is it content monetization? If you could call it
Dalamazation.
that. Yeah. Firstly, like, what is social media monetization? Just for maybe people out there who don't know.
Social media monetization.
Mike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, my understanding with the social media monetization, this is if you do make content online, this is an opportunity for you to make content and get paid out of that content that you make online.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Who's paying you for that content?
The actual is so if you're on a platform called, or is it YouTube or TikTok or
yes,
so it's those particular
platforms,
those platforms that pay you from the number of views that you accumulate on a post or something.
Okay, cool.
Or a video or whatever content.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's social media monetization. You're pretty much getting paid as a
content creator
for being a paid content creator by the platforms you're on.
Yeah.
So we haven't had that in Zambia.
No.
Well,
like okay. None of the platforms at all.
No.
We
from
haven't
Facebook,
TikTok,
YouTube. Yeah.
If there's been, then people haven't been honest about it.
Okay, I see. But I doubt.
Yeah.
So okay.
Because our country, I think, is not on the list of those countries that are...
okay. So they have a list that show which ones are monetized.
So Zambia is not among the countries that are on the list of countries that are...
That we're trying to get ourselves in, right?
Yeah. People should start getting paid off of their content.
How close are we? How close do you think we are?
Yeah, well, it looks like there's some development in that sector, So this is an article by Kalemba that was on 21st June on the same issue of social media monetization. So it says, Zambia closer to social media monetization. Chibamba Kanyama ready to meet Meta, YouTube, and others, according to Bflow. A new dawn may be breaking for Zambians content creators as the country inches closer to unlocking the economic potential of social media through monetization as Zambia's ambassador to America, Chiramba Kanyama, is ready to meet companies such as Meta and YouTube. Okay? Yeah, it goes on further to say, the Zambian Association of Musicians president, Brian Bwembia, popularly known as B-Flow, revealed this to Kalemba in an interview. We got in touch with Zambia's ambassador to America, Chiramba Kanyama, who asked for more information for him to represent us at any of these offices, in the Meta offices or YouTube offices. That's the knowledge part I was talking about earlier, said B-Flow. Chiramba Kanyama is keen on representing content creators in Zambia to ensure our information reaches the platforms and the offices so that they can understand what we are trying to achieve as a nation. B-Flow said his association, spearheading the Monetize Zambia campaign, has made major strides in pushing for policies that would allow Zambian content creators to earn from platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and others. The ZAM president disclosed that his association had successfully held consultative meetings with key stakeholders such as Zambia Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Technology and Science, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports and Art. He said these meetings were focused on aligning the government structures with the dream of making social media monetization a reality. There has been a knowledge gap in Zambia about what it truly takes to monetize social media, and so we have taken a keen interest upon ourselves to bridge that gap, one stakeholder at a time, he stated. Yeah, then it further goes on. It's quite a bit of a long read. Yeah. But, from that, we can see there's a lot of progress made on that end. You know, the ZAM president, Brian Bwembia.
Yeah.
Brian Bwembia, a.k.a. B-Flow, doing his thing, you know. He's, I'm not saying you guys, B-Flow is a very productive person. He's a very progressive person.
And I already like what he's doing already.
Because that whole thing he's doing even goes beyond the ZAM mandate.
It's
not just for musicians, it's generally like the entertainment industry, if you could say that. Yeah. So is pushing on the right doors and doing the right thing. We do hope that he actually does manage to, pull that off, so that we can all get paid, of course,
Yeah.
We out here, we talk to you all the time, we're trying to get paid.
Because I mean, like, what's like all this for if really there's no token at the end of it, like, because for some people, I think on TikTok, like, they live off that, like, all the time, every day. Whether pamande na panga content, you post up a Friday.
Yeah, and you see the thing. I think what most people don't realize also is content creation is expensive.
Yeah, true.
It is very expensive. It's very time consuming. So it's actually it's a job. Yeah. So for somebody to take that much of their time and their resources, they do need some form of compensation. Yeah. So if that monetization comes through, it can really help. Because you're talking about cameras, lights, microphones, sound, all of that, to get everybody in the right place, transport, all that stuff, just even the creative process of developing the content, editing, all those things.
Yeah,
it's quite an expensive venture. So to have the whole situation monetized, I think it's a good move. What other benefits do you think would come from that?
So I think the most important thing that content creators that don't know about, if let's say if this thing goes through,
yes,
of course we've seen there's a progress. The most important thing, I'll point at musicians. Okay, you are there in the studio, you're recording, you go out there, you do a music video. Even before you get to be known in the country, or before you blow, before they start calling you for shows, all right? If Zambia is among the list of countries that are monetized, that means you start making money even before you start making money for shows.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that's a benefit. Number one, you start making money even when there's no that promoter calling you like, yo, we need you for a certain show. So you start making money. As a content creator on Facebook, again, of course, even when you don't have that endorsement deal or a company approaching you so that you can advertise certain things on your page, you'll be making money off the skits that you're making. You'll be making money. Is it a TikToker? You'll be making money.
Okay.
So it's kind of creates, I would say, it's a job opportunity where you get to make money off your content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The benefit is that you make money.
Yeah.
And then what's that other motivation that you need apart from the money part? Okay, there are all those other things that get into it, but when somebody is doing that particular thing, I don't know if you look for focus if you're about to, then from there, you've got a job or something, well and good. But at the end of the day, when people do most of them content creators, is to get something out of it.
Yeah.
Because that now becomes like a day-to-day thing. It's just not laid off in my actor, the next person take the food channel.
Yeah.
Some people do it like every day, and it's a lifestyle for them. Yeah. So the benefit there is money, and then that money will get you to get your equipment. You become bigger and better. Then you get better endorsements. All those things. You go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to look at it from a different point of view, I know, like, yeah, it's going to bring money in the whole equation and what's this.
Yeah.
But there's a comment I saw by somebody on this whole issue of monetization,
Oh yeah.
where they were saying something to the effect of, like, okay, well and good, this monetization is coming, but get ready for the bunch of nonsense that you see now in terms of content.
Yeah.
Because of this monetization.
Yeah. So I was also
kind of
like
implying that now that there's a money incentive to it, we're going to be bombarded with a lot of garbage.
I was also thinking about that.
Yeah.
But then I looked at the positive side.
Yeah, because to a certain extent, I'm happy about the whole money thing and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think, if the motive is just money again, just purely money, then it becomes a dangerous thing. To a certain extent. I think it's something we should just take a bit of caution with.
Yeah.
Because if you can imagine the type of content people do without even social media being monetized, there's quite some, unsanitary
we do
type
get
of
it.
content,
Yeah.
Like you can see it's like for the clicks.
Yeah.
It's not really, it doesn't have much value to it. It's shock value. You get what I'm saying? So now that you introduce the monetary incentive, a lot more people are going to jump into this thing.
Yeah.
Making it more competitive now for you to get the attention that you need.
That's the thing.
So now to get
More
the attention,
more competitive.
I think most people are not necessarily willing to do the work that's required to get the attention. People will immediately go to the easiest thing that they can find, which is shock value. So you have a lot more of shock value type content rather than meaningful, enjoyable content out there.
Okay.
That's, I think, for me, that's one of the downsides that needs to be looked at.
That could be a disadvantage.
Yes,
Yeah.
because now, like, you have all these people, like, it's like there's a type of content. There's a video I was watching, like, on Facebook. So this guy is a content creator. He makes these videos about, just situations that happen, like, in terms of crime and that type of stuff in the US. So he's done a few about these type of content creators where, like, the type of content this one creator was doing is like these pranks, and then now these pranks keep getting worse in terms of, like, what the person is doing. So initially, maybe, like, this guy starts like, he goes he goes off on the street, maybe scares somebody and whatnot. Then that content becomes old. Then he starts pushing further. He starts getting himself into altercations with people deliberately. Then that also gets old. Then he starts getting further. He starts going into stores and, like, just being a menace, basically. Like, not really anything valuable, but just being a menace. You're not really doing anything, but like, And from there, this guy then now goes on to, like, that content. He feels like, this is getting a bit dry, and what's this? He goes on and then he starts. What does he do? He goes into the shop and then I don't know if he injects the fruits or the vegetables or something, or he smears some substance on them, which is kind of like off. or poisonous or dangerous or something like that, you know. And after viewers, his fans see that now, because now they think, okay, bro, I think now you've crossed the line.
Yeah.
Then he gets this backlash. Then he goes back to the store, removes all those thingies he had actually like smeared with all that stuff, throws them in his trolley and says he bought them. And, you know, then he goes to make another video saying, no, I actually threw them away. I took them out. But already the damage has been done.
Yeah.
You know? So he kind of loses that. And to a certain extent, it's like he becomes a bit addicted to the whole high of just having those views and people always raving about his content. But unfortunately, the store, I think, filed a case against him. And yeah, this guy was taken to court.
Hey.
That's the only way.
And, you know, he was convicted. There's another one. I saw some guy called, what's his name? Is it Johnny Somali? Johnny Somali. So let me just see if I can find that. Johnny Somali.
What did you do?
Yeah, let me just find it. So, says Ramzi Khalid Ishmael, better known as Johnny Somali, is an Ethiopian-American streamer and self-proclaimed internet troll, known for both his provocative and hostile behavior. Okay? So, controversial YouTuber Johnny Somali pleads guilty to all charges in Seoul court. Okay, so this is in South Korea. The 24-year-old faced public backlash last year in Korea. So this article is from when? June 27, 2025. So last year, 2024. Faced backlash last year in South Korea for his videos showing him kissing a comfort woman statue, which represents victims of wartime sexual slavery, amongst other controversial actions. Okay?
In South Korea?
Yeah.
How's he doing that shit outside?
I guess he decided to go and create his content.
South Korea North Korea
Picture that.
Death wish.
The clicks, man. He needed the clicks. You know? So that's one thing I was looking at. That's one aspect. I think we're going to see more creators like that, and not just that, but maybe even more content which is just more provocative and sexual in nature, because it's the easiest thing and
to get
quickest
people
thing to get people's attention. Yeah, so that's what I think generally. You know, so people are going to be making money, but you know, what is the value of what they are creating at the end of the day? And I think again, on the other end, not to be negative or anything, I kind of feel there are certain things we need to have in place before we even start thinking of monetizing social media content. I think our country needs a lot of skilled people in different, areas of the economy, different skill sets, before we actually take a huge demographic of our young people into content creation. Yeah, we need a lot more trained people and staff and other areas of our country to function first before we can jump onto the content creator type thing. Because you have to think of it on a top level, or rather, I'm looking at it from a top level, would say value-wise, in the general consensus of like our economy and everything. How much productivity is this bringing to our situation? It's good in the sense that, of course, youths can now make some money.
Yeah.
And it will help their families kind of like alleviate a certain level of financial stress from their families because of what they are creating. But it still doesn't supplement for the other weak areas of our economy, sort of to say. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No. Don't freak.
Yeah, but that's the social media, man. That's how I kind of look at it. There are those aspects of it, which I think we definitely need to address. Because, trust me, you're going to see some stuff, man.
Yeah.
But as in, just to start with, I think it's okay for now. Let it go through. I don't know, but if we were to go through with the monetization thing, all right, of course it would be for Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, and every other thing. I think the best I can do to avoid what you're saying is maybe restrict certain kind of content that can be monetized.
Aye.
If it's not educative and that, you don't get to be monetized.
Okay.
So it has to be, I think,
certain type of content.
Certain type of content. I think it would work better.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's true. Actually, you have a point. Yeah. So I think it can still work, but just with certain guidelines. Yeah, and I'm sure they'll probably iron those out.
Murefo kurisho kuingira, and then mufo kuwapira na mama rules varia.
Yeah?
Trefo kurisho kuingira monetization.
No, not necessarily giving YouTube rules as per se. More the creators. The content creators themselves.
Oh, like here.
Yes, because we are in no position to really give them rules. We are the ones who want this thing.
There's no
They are going to tell us this, and that. But on our end, we can then put certain guidelines for our content creators. So follow these guidelines. Don't just create content for the sake of clicks and all this type thing. Yeah.
Because I think now Zikta now's job now is going to be very broad now. Like
if you're creating,
and I think Zikta should just they should because now a lot should come from there now. Like concerning this digital era now. I think I hope because this is my opinion. I hope now like there's specialization with a lot of these things now because now we're living in a world where a lot of things are happening Papa Media. So those guys are now mostly involved now with a lot of things happening around. So they really have to have like specializations on this, that, like departments special like broken down like that. Yeah, just think like that.
Like just to add on what Ascent said, of course, if we were to go through, of course, like he mentioned, Zikta plus the government. I think if they were to work in hand to make sure that they tell like, okay, here in Zambia, of course we know such things have gone through, like your content is monetized. But if we see you creating ABCD content, you'll be arrested for that. It would work.
Okay, to a certain extent.
You doubt? Are you doubting, Thomas?
I don't know. Like, it's tricky spaces, especially when you talk about the government and regulation of media. Because sometimes the what can I say? The agenda or the motive behind that might not necessarily be for regulation or protecting the space. It might be a form of control.
Yeah.
So it's important to have free media and free press in the country so that, they are the people who bring out the different views and opinions contrary to what narrative a government might give. They kind of keep a balance with that information. They help people stay informed on things that they might not necessarily be if they were just getting their information from the government only, So when the government also starts getting involved in some of this stuff, to say, they put regulations, it becomes a bit tricky. Yeah, because that power you give them can sometimes be abused to suppress the views.
Of course.
Yeah, because social media is a very powerful thing, It's caused a lot of, like the protests we're seeing in Kenya. And, just a number of movements around the world that have affected countries in a big way. They start off on social media and some of these spaces. So to have regulation to a certain extent, like a very strong involvement of the government and regulation becomes a bit tricky. Yeah, but anyway, with content, that's it. Let's just keep that in mind. That's just what I was thinking. Like,
it's going to be wild. Let's wait for that. Let's wait for that.
No,
trust me.
Yeah, we know it.
Yeah, and everyone will start looking like millionaires now on social media because they're like, you're trying to show this lifestyle. Like, Yeah, but it's interesting. Let's hope that goes through because we're trying to get paid too, man. Like, and we hope we provide you with quality content and valuable content that you can go out there, reflect and use. Yeah. So we're trying to get that content creation money as well. Let's hope that goes through. As for B-Flow, that was a good move. If he does that, I know he's got my support for a lot of things.
Until 2019 as Zam president.
No, so long as he keeps doing the good work. Yeah. So let's move on to the Icon show. Okay.
Kazadi.
Mr. David Kazadi. So what is the Icon Show for those of our viewers who might not know?
All right, so the Icon Show is, just to paraphrase it, or in simple context, it's more like it's a talent show
Yeah.
for rappers and singers. Basically, they're not dancers.
It's a music talent show.
Yeah, it's a music talent show. The way the Idols is.
Okay,
Yeah.
something similar to Idols.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How many? This is the second
Second
season of it.
Second.
The second running of it. Okay.
Yeah.
The first one. Who won the first one?
Who is that guy? Like
At Mole something.
Mole something.
Yeah, I can't know
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay. What was the prize that he got?
I think he got, it was 100,000, a Benz, a house, I think a recording deal.
Yeah.
Then I think it was some health insurance thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a good package, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Hey,
100
that's-
stacks.
I mean, that's
a
like
car,
a solid
a house.
package,
Like
bruh.
you set up. Man.
You said you
You
done.
set up.
So this time around, they've even
Yeah.
made it bigger and better.
Okay.
So
like, what are
the-
they offering now?
250, man.
250
Yeah, grand.
plus a house
A house,
and a car.
a car, health
Hey,
insurance,
Give me a
Insurance.
vocal coach, man. I gotta start singing.
a
man.
trip to Paris.
Hey.
Okay.
Then 100 kwacha talk time, 100,000 kwacha talk time.
Ah.
100,000, not 100 kwacha, 100,000.
Hey, that's boss level. Like you just kind of like you just
Yeah.
become like a boss all of a
Yeah.
sudden. huh?
Yeah.
And then they said like the competition is stiff now. So
No, it
definitely-
is, bro. 200,
Yeah.
I'm competing.
Yeah, 250.
250.
Yeah.
200.
You'll see me on TV. I'll be there singing. I just need to get a vocal coach so that I start, you know.
So
We're
this
trying to
time
get
around-
this money, man.
This time around, it's not only going to be in Lusaka.
Okay.
So today, when we are
Oh.
shooting, today is the 29th?
Yes.
28th?
What's the date today?
What's the date?
Oh, it's on today, huh?
Today's the 28th.
28th.
The
The
auditions
auditions
are on today.
are on, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll start with Lusaka, then Copperbelt,
yeah.
then they said Livingstone, then Kasama.
Wait,
So
these are,
okay, go ahead.
so these auditions are only like, is it 1 day or 2 days?
I think it's one day. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, so wait. The first one was only for Lusaka.
Lusaka. Yeah.
Now they're going to.
So
the
whoever
Copper-
wanted to participate in the
Uh-huh.
icon, they had to travel, come to Lusaka.
Okay, so this time around, where are they going? Lusaka, Copperbelt.
Lusaka, Copperbelt,
Livingstone,
Livingstone,
Kasama.
Kasama.
Okay. Okay.
They're good to go, bro.
They didn't want to go to Chupat.
I don't know.
No, there's always season 3.
But anyway, resources again.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
look at
okay.
resources. Yeah. So this time it's
250, a house, a car, a trip to Paris,
health
Yeah,
insurance,
sorted.
health insurance.
100,000
Ah,
kwacha.
bruh, I'm starting to sing me. You
Go compete with the youth them.
But
there.
you know the funny thing,
can
like
compete,
if we look at the
Yeah.
the guy that won last time, like we can't see him in the music thingy. Like
yeah,
he
in
doesn't
the
have
public
his-
space,
yeah.
huh? Yeah. I think he's still enjoying the man.
I was watching a video, like I think this was a June video.
Yeah.
I think he was like vibing in the studio and like to a song. And I was like, the sound is coming out. Like, I
Yeah,
thought,
but it's
bro, like that momentum. Like, we
Yeah.
thought like it was gonna be
Yeah.
like, there's no stopping when you start this
Uh-huh.
shit. Yeah. So like, hey, like, anyway, it's here now.
but I
Yeah.
don't know if it's only me that has observed this.
Mm.
Most of the winners that we've seen on Idols, Shan, these
The competitions, yeah.
competition, they don't seem to.
Yeah, their
pop out
careers
like-
never
Never
seem
just like just-
to flourish.
But
Yeah,
with
Yeah.
America, is it Jennifer Hudson? But her, she
yeah,
man-
but typically with
she
these
managed
contests, like the
Yeah.
winners,
Yeah.
they don't go on to
yeah,
become
like
a
you
big
never see
deal
them
in
become
the-
like
yeah.
big,
No,
like
it's very
them.
few of them actually. So even with this one, I'm not too surprised. Like you
What do
know,
you think would be the reason? Eh?
I really
Like
don't know.
you think like once that goes on for you, you think like it's depends. I like because
Maybe sometimes the people kind of think like, okay, I've won this, and then they are going to keep giving me this and whatnot. So maybe you're still waiting for certain things to be done for you when you should be running on your own.
Because here in Africa, I think the only person I've seen, Chika, that guy from Nigeria, I think
Yes.
he had won there's this, it's not really idols. There's a certain competition thing, the talent. Yeah, he popped out from that, but he's continued like that. But any other, like, I don't know. I don't know what happens to them. Maybe they get
don't-
drunk with the money they gave them.
I think it's a number of reasons. It's not just one thing. Some maybe the contracts they get into are maybe not that
Azanga
good.
one fair who's never
There
been
should
on
be
a
a
talent.
documentary about that, man.
Yeah.
Everyone
I'm
who
guessing
makes
just
it-
the resource to
Everybody
to
who
do
wins, then can
What's the ish?
What comes after that?
Yeah.
What comes after you winning this prize and this kind of talent
Yeah.
show?
So I've seen like they've added K Plus is a host on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
K
is.
Plus from the Z podcast. He's a host on that, and I think he's suitable.
Yeah,
he
he
makes
is.
a good host.
And I always say, like, Cleo, that's a thing.
Oh yeah,
Like
Cleo's
Cleo
also
being
Cleo's a
involved
judge.
in that kind of thing. I don't know.
She's a judge. She's a new
Yeah.
judge. Yeah.
So it's Cleo, Kazadi, and who else?
Is it
Ballad Zulu.
Ballad Zulu.
Okay, Ballad Zulu is still
And
there.
then there's also
Yeah.
one guy.
Okay.
What's his name again? This guy is a
Uh-huh.
presenter. He's a presenter. What Power TV channel? Medad.
Yes,
Me-
yes,
me-
yes,
that
yes,
dude.
yes, yes.
He's
Yeah.
remained as
So-
yeah.
Okay.
Because he was there even the last.
Oh yeah.
I
He was
see.
there. It was him and Mr. Simon.
Oh yeah, Simon was the presenter last
Yeah.
time. Okay, so this time they got K Plus.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I see. Mr. Mwaka. Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how this dynamic will be. I want to see Kazadi's comments for this time around. Last time he had some interesting
homie should
comments.
chill
for
out.
No,
But anyway, but it's good.
Yeah.
But like it's good because that's like that's the drama of the whole thingy. I
Yeah.
think he tries to bring that part of it,
Uh-huh.
like because everybody's just like serious. No, you can't sing what.
Yeah.
There's some people, who, you know.
Yeah.
And
But again, just genuinely, I think some people need to be told that.
yeah.
No.
You know one clip I saw? Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
There's one clip I saw. This guy, he's saying that. You know, the people that listen to music and the people that sing the music. Guess where you belong.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he got that. And it's just like,
Guess where you belong.
that's the I told this guy like, guess where you belong. And then he's there like, I don't know, you're cool and
No, but some people need to be told that. You know, like the famous one was the Kadudu, and I think he was rapping or something. Then Kazadi was kind
In this
of.
life,
Did he
like
sing?
No, he was singing.
Then Kazadi was kind of like, yo, bro, in this life or the next, like you would never be, you would never like.
you never make it out.
Yeah.
You never take a
And you know, people were in an uproar. No way, how could you say that?
And he wanted that.
Yes,
That's what he
that.
wanted.
And I love
And
that.
he
Like,
drove those views. I don't know whether it's views that he wanted, viewership.
It
or
caught people's attention. Like,
yes,
the
it
attention.
did.
what's wrong with
now
this?
people had to vote now.
It did, and I love that. You know, not just for the fact that it was something he did to get attention,
Yeah.
but that whole situation, like, you know, there's something about that situation that shows you how kind of things go. Like, especially when it comes to things like music.
Yeah.
I kind of think like, unfortunately, like there's an aspect of music I've fallen out of love with. Like just generally how it's become, like it's become the low hanging fruit. It's the easier thing. Like it's the easiest thing for people to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everybody who feels like, oh, if Van Kanga first music. You know, that kind of thing. And like a lot of people entering the industry, they come with this mentality and mindset, kind of thinking like they're the special ones who are supposed to make it, and everybody's there just to help them. They have this sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
Say, oh, people should just help me because I want to do music. Then people should just help me. No, you have to put in the work, and you know, it's not something you just wake up and say you want to do. You have to put in the work until you're the best, or people deem you the best or worthy enough to listen to. And that is what will reward you, not just you going out there. Because that mentality is bad. It's quite prevalent in the industry. You'll find situations where like upcoming artists, like even just the way they handle themselves in trying to find opportunities. Find someone who send you a message and say, I know, boss, I'm an artist. No, I've got Shanshan songs. Please help me.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a lot of passion. I've got this and that. Like, if you just sign me to your studios, I'm so dedicated. I used to sing in church ever since I was. They give you this whole history. Like, bro, like, so you just want me to give you what you want. I should stop everything that I'm doing because you are so special, you're so talented, because you're going to make it. I should stop everything that I'm doing, looking for money to provide for myself and my family. I should stop and just attend to you.
Pumping the money.
Yeah, it's
and
very
make that
selfish.
person blow.
It is.
Yeah, it's very selfish and an entitled way of thinking. So even for that boy or that guy in that particular instance, like when you see the way the whole story played out, it's like, oh, he had written a song for his mom. I don't know if it's his mom or his aunt or us. This kind of inspired him to do music or something. And he went and performed that song. And I think he thought because he had written it for his mom who had passed away or his aunt who had passed away, not sure if his aunt or mom, he kind of felt entitled to go through based on that. No, it's not a sympathy vote. You're not given a position because we feel sympathy for you.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere else. But, it's a competitive thing.
Yeah.
You must compete. You must bring the goods.
Yeah.
Don't just feel entitled. Because there are other people who are putting in the work. Yeah. Other people who probably come from a worse situation than you, but they're dedicated and putting in the work. What makes you feel more entitled than they are?
Right.
So it's situations like that, and that's how I kind of saw that. That's why I think I love it when he told him that. And sometimes I think like you kind of have to tell people that, smack them in the face a bit.
Why do you love it when it's not harsh, man? that was harsh.
There's something.
Why do you love that?
You know what I love about that? There's something so visceral about it when somebody gives you the truth.
Visceral.
Break that down, bruh.
I'm a dictionary. Visceral. There's something intense about it when somebody hits you with the truth.
Yeah.
In an apologetic way, Because a lot of the times we walk around with these things in our heads. We lie to ourselves and make ourselves feel good. Oh, yeah. But sometimes you have to be smacked with the truth.
Yeah.
Because you're so deep in your comfort zone where everything's
so it should make you get out of that place.
And you've got this warped way of looking at things like, oh, this is that. When somebody delivers a message to you like that, because of just how intense it is and how raw it is, you rarely forget it. And those are some of the most important needs some of the most important lessons you need to carry you through life. Just a bit of a segue. Like, let me just tell you this story. Like, I had an experience like that, and it took me like about 10 years or so to appreciate that lesson. I remember I had a discussion. Let me not say discussion because that's too diplomatic. I was having a chat with my uncle, right? One of my uncles.
Yeah.
And he kind of said something to me. I think it was an issue about money, and he was telling me something to the effect that, you're a kid, man. You don't know how to manage money. You don't even know what the cost of bread is. You need somebody to manage your money. So at that time, I must have been 2022 or something like that, When he said that, I was so upset, I was like, how can this guy tell me that? Does he know who I am? Because, I had read some to my business books, those type of things.
Yeah.
And I was so passionate about entrepreneurship. And I thought, man, this guy doesn't know what he's saying. Like, I know how to manage money. I can make money like that. And I was so upset in the moment.
Yeah.
And what really crushed me a lot about that moment was the fact that he said, like, you don't know what the cost of bread is. Like, you don't even know how much bread is,
Yeah.
But fast forward now, and I look at that incident and that whole situation. When I play back that time, I was nowhere near anywhere I thought I was. I was not ready to handle any type of money, no matter what shape, form, or whatever.
Yeah.
If at that point in time I was handed like $1 million, not even that means I even say $1 million, like 100,000 or even 50,000, I would have lost that money in an instant. Because the reality was I did not know how to handle money. But I've never forgotten that. And because of that, I'm constantly just trying to learn, okay, how can I manage my money better? And, I'm very cautious of that because of that incident. And I appreciate that now. Now I see what he meant.
Yeah.
But he needed to deliver it in that way to slap me out of my silliness. Like, yo, wake up. It ain't what you think it is. Like, it's like this, you know. So that's what some of those situations are. Of course, not all the time. You have to be sensitive about how you deliver a message here and there. But a little smack every now and then. You know, you need to smack somebody into reality. Like, yo, wake up. Especially young people, you know. Because sometimes when you're young, there's a certain energy that's there. Like, it's big, it's energetic, it's very arrogant. Like, there's a point when you're young where you think you know what it is.
Yeah, true. True.
But the reality is you don't. There's a saying said, "Taulat kurobone." You know, then as you grow, you start to realize, I think, I really didn't know what the hell I was doing then. So that moment that Kazadi had with that guy kind of reminds me of that. And like, it's like, yeah, you need to smack that boy, man. Like, dude needs to learn and wake up. Like,
but I think in the way that he said it, to me, it wasn't really okay.
Okay.
Because Nganinebo, I would have answered back.
No, look, well and good. You can answer back. I would have
answered back. Like, yo, you were so come by. Do you think you're God for you to say that?
No, but you see, again, like, you can answer back. There's no problem with that. But my thing always is when somebody says something, don't just negate it and say, hey, what's this? Analyze that message. Sit down, think over it. You can be upset in the moment. It's okay. It's a normal reaction. Especially when someone is telling you the truth. Yeah. The truth hurts. It's not an easy thing to take. Huh? That's why if you tell the truth a lot, you won't have many friends. Yeah. Or most people will avoid you. Because you know you're a very truthful person. Yeah. The truth shows you the ugliness, the bad side that you try to skip over and what's this. And to get it from somebody else, we can't handle that. You see that? So you can be upset at what somebody says in the moment, but you must be mature enough to go back, sit down, and think over it. And really try and understand, what was this person saying? Yeah. Is there any truth to that? Are there any facts to that? And be mature to look at yourself realistically in the mirror and say, okay, I think, this person was right.
But sorry to cut you short. I think at some point it would work as a fuel if you were to think of it in a positive way and not in a negative way. It would work as a fuel. Like, okay, so if this guy said this, I think I just need to work hard in such a context. It would work.
Of course, sometimes also, to just take it from another point. Could have had sometimes someone tells you something, hey, it's not necessarily like, sometimes it's not from a good place. Yeah. The intent is just meant to like, like there are those type of messages like that. It's meant to hurt you, it's meant to injure you, and what's this? But that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to be wise enough to be able to dissect messages. What people say to you, you should sit down and think about it and really analyze what is going on and the situation in which that whole thing has been delivered. Okay, what is the intent of this message? What is what is the content of this message? What is the intent? Because sometimes somebody might encourage you, not that you are good, but the intent is bad because they're building you up to see you fall. Yeah. You see what I mean? So you have to be wise enough to analyze that message. Somebody will know, like, this guy can't do this. Like, like, he definitely can't do this. Like, he knows you're a crap singer, but he'll be there. Yeah, they'll gas you up. Especially Kaj. Then when you go on the show there, you go bang that kawad, like, that's your best tune, dog. And you out there singing and you embarrass yourself, and that person gets a kick out of it. So, you have to be wise enough to see what's behind what is being said. The message. Because certain things might be delivered in a harsh manner, but the intent is good. Certain things might be delivered in a nice manner, but the intent is bad. That's why, like, don't be too quick to get, like, even the Bible said, don't be too quick to anger. Slow but tasted. Mwamvera. You listen to what people
You
are saying.
That's why
Lies.
sometimes
Yes.
it's good or even or like an older person, refer to shout omuntu. It's, you know, God like that guy said it like in front of people. Then couldn't have another tamba. So in a paraba, thank you so. So the why sometimes omuntu aliva shout pabantu. Iwe shashan pabantu feel you can be upset. But when you get someone on the side that iwe if you be that's different. You know.
Yeah. And of course sometimes again that's what I'm saying. Like certain things, and sometimes somebody might be right, but sometimes they also just want to injure you. So sometimes it's also just kind of
that,
you know. But like I'm saying, sometimes people also need to be.
Yeah. Sometimes that's necessary.
There's times when we're doing certain things that are like, you know,
yeah.
it's like words are not going to reach you. We need to give you something a bit more impactful and shocking for you to get back to your senses. You know, and I think certain artists or certain people are in that state.
They need to,
Yeah. But you, like, all in all, I think, you know, you need what people need to understand, even those people who were I saw like a few posts like when he did that, when Kazadi did that, you know, there was somebody I know who kind of posted something to the effect of, so this one thinks he can come here from the UK, and you know he just comes here to belittle artists, and what's this one needs to be disciplined, that if I go a disciplinary committee and whatnot, you know. Yes. So I think certain people get rubbed off the wrong way by David Kazadi. They don't like him, like Zambians typically don't like
sorry. You know how, like, where that takes me back, like it takes me back to the days of like Crisis. There's this time like Crisis was like he was on Smooth Talk, you know. So like it's always it always comes out like it's like Boston, they bragging.
Yes.
But for me, I don't have any problem with that guy. Even when he was doing his thing, I knew exactly what he was trying to do, but then I knew that people won't get it light. It won't be light, but then he also understands.
Yeah, no, he definitely
knows what
understands that. He
knows how he's getting into it, but which other way could you get into it?
Yeah.
If it's not just doing whatever.
Like some people are genuinely upset.
Yeah.
No, this guy likes disrespecting my artist. So you know, so it was funny to see that, you know. But the thing is, what most of those people don't realize is you need a David Kazadi in this country. Okay, because beyond himself as a person, to me, what David represents is a fresh perspective on things. He brings fresh ideas and new ideas, and he challenges the status quo.
That status quo.
That's what I see David as. He's a symbol for that. I don't try to look at him as a person as per se, but what he represents. You need a lot of that in this country, because you know we're used to this Malays mediocre way of doing things. And don't get me wrong, there are people who do great things, but we need more people to be bold and ambitious. You know, to give things a fresh look, like he does.
Do you think there's somebody alike with him in the industry right now?
There probably is, but not to that scale. Maybe I haven't met them yet. But not to that scale. David also comes from like, you know, his background is a bit different from like generally the people who are in our industry like that. You know, you look at where he grew up in the UK, I think. You know, he comes from a reasonably well-to-do family. He's the nephew to Oscar Chavula. You know, who's quite a wealthy man. You know, so even his level of exposure and just the capacity of things he can do is very different. And that's not to say that he's just a rich boy and no. He's definitely a hard worker, and he's done his own thing to earn his own right. So the scale at which he does things is a bit different from maybe somebody else who would have done that in our industry as well.
Of course,
you know. So there are people who push boundaries every now and then. Maybe not just in our industry, but maybe even outside the industry. You look at a guy like you look at a man like Professor Clive Chiro. When you see that man's CV, is robust. He's worked in these
I've
international
heard that. Like, I've
corporations
heard,
and
like,
all
he's got a
these
wild
type of things.
CV.
Yeah, you know. So when he came here, he had quite some unique ideas and all of that stuff. But for some reason or the other, it didn't go about as what's this. But you know, people like that who bring something fresh to the industry and just shake things up.
Yeah.
You know, you need that. You can't just be doing business as usual, you know, where every time it's the same faces, same type of program and what's this. No, it's different. You know, you need that. And that's what David represents.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see like I think what people don't understand about somebody ambitious, they're not necessarily the nicest people to be around. Ambition doesn't feel nice.
Yeah.
You know? It's kind of like that guy, like if you've ever played soccer or sport, like that guy who takes things so personal. Him, like if he's training, he wants to train more hours. You know, like when something goes wrong, he gets so upset. Those are the guys who cry when the game is over because you lost, you know. Like ambition can be like that. And when people see that and they don't understand that, especially here where we like to tell people, be humble, be what's this. Yes, be humble maybe in your personal conduct or what's this, but don't be humble when it comes to taking on audacious ideas and big things. You know, not just big ideas, but progressive ideas. You know, you look at even the other lady who passed on. Is it Dora Mono?
Yeah, Dora Mono.
You see, that's a very different field. But for her, she did things on her own terms. She didn't go to government for support. Probably she did get support from other people. But this is a young lady who went out there, didn't do business as usual, of saying, no, she went out there, she saw a problem, she went for it. She did something very unique. She created a positive development in an area that didn't have that. You know, unfortunately for her, there was no broadcast like the way we might see somebody in the entertainment industry, you know. But you need that mindset. Yeah. And that's what David represents. So you can be upset at him all you want, but those are the guys who you need. And also like just his exposure as well, where he's from, his network. You know, if there's anything of scale that is going to come from anywhere or maybe an international thing, those are the people you need. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, so
the icon.
Definitely looking forward to the icon thing. Yeah. So that's that with the icon show. But don't be surprised if you see me there participating.
After this, you could go participate.
The way you're saying that, you're like, you're not going to it. Maybe I'll also see you there.
See you there.
I'm not going there. I'm doing my own thing.
I'll be there. I'll go. You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Release like a vocal like Usher. Do my thing, you know.
Papa, in your next and your next
and your next back on the next
your
of the next
generation.
Talk about generation by 10.
No one will make it. Music.
At back to sender.
Yeah, maybe you need a Kazad in your life that can tell you certain things that will act as a fuel.
Yeah. Straight up. We all do to a certain extent. Yeah. So with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, just gents here. No lady. We need to get a lady here.
We need to have one lady.
Yeah, who can join us so that just balance out the goal. Not one, but from time to time. Anyway, we can see how.
I mean, we can pick.
Yeah. I might have to get rid of you guys. So.
I know you can't. I know you can't.
I'm just playing, man. The guys are looking at me. It's just like. Really?
What's up, this nigga say?
Chill, fellas. You know, I'm just joking.
It's all good, bro.
All right. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the Land of Work and Joy podcast. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.